Four Nights of the Apocalypse chapter 186 is officially out, and after the events of the previous chapter, which is just a bit of a wind down from the previous chapters due to the fights and the big dramatic moments with Diodora, we ended up getting some Escanor lore, surprisingly enough, and a relationship with the Beltrop, which I was not expecting, and Gother made a return, so that was always nice. But this chapter, we get right into the second fight of the quarterfinals with Nasiens versus Diodora, and this is already looking to be a really, really good fight, and I cannot wait to see how things progress from here. Before we jump into things, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel, and shows you want to see more. And if you want to see me talk about a whole bunch of different manga, go and check out my manga podcast, Shonen Pulse, on the Panel Focus YouTube channel, where me, Nox, and Yarogami talk about 9 different manga from 3 different magazines. It's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it. It's great to talk with them, and I really do think if you guys read any of the series and titles that we talk about, come and join the comments. You'll like our discussions, and you'll probably have something else to add to make these full-on discussions and breakdowns of these chapters even more fun. Or come and drop by if you're curious about a title we're talking about and want to see if any of our conversations interest you to pick up a new title. We're really close to 1,000 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate if you guys would check it out. Links will be in the description and the title card right up above. Also, if you want to see me talk about American comic books, go and check out my second channel, GW Comics, where I talk about American comic books right now, primarily Marvel and DC. DC is going to be a bit of a focus from for a little bit due to Absolute Flash coming out. I'm getting a video for that, and Absolute Martian Manhunter. I'm getting videos for those set up as well. And I have a big video on Absolute Batman's first 5 to 6 issues in the works right now, which will be out within the next week or two, so look forward to that. It's a passion project of mine, and I would really appreciate if you guys would check it out as well. Links as well will be in the title card and the description down below. Now with that all said and done, let's jump right into the chapter. So chapter 186 of Four Nights of the Apocalypse, titled Nasiens versus Diodora, and the cover image is terrifyingly wholesome due to the fact that it is a baby Diodora being held by his uncle, surrounded by his father, and Rothus and Turret, who were his surrogate older brothers. With the events that have happened in Diodora's life, he is broken, and yeah, this is just a twisting the knife moment for everything that's gone on with him so far. The chapter starts off with the second match getting ready to go in place, with Percival and Nasiens talking off on the side, with Nasiens concerned about Dubs being captured. But Percival actually says that this is actually kind of weird. The group that he was in just undid his bindings and kind of let him go. He's sort of wandering around right now, and he's good on his own for now, which obviously Percival got this from the life spirits that were most likely following or around Dubs and reported back to him. Now, interestingly enough, he doesn't know that this was Gother. I do believe it's primarily because, like Dubs said, Percival can't perceive or pick up on Gother due to the fact that he is a literal living doll, and since he technically isn't a living thing, he doesn't have a life spirit that has given him life. So Percival cannot detect him, which would also by part make Gother actually kind of immune to Percival's life spirit abilities, which is actually pretty interesting. But as the two of them are talking, Diodora walks up to Nasiens and asks him if we can get this started already. As Diodora walks onto the platform, Nasiens follows suit, with Percival wishing him good luck and looking kind of concerned over what's going on. With the announcer that we now know that is Gother in disguise saying that the next match is up, with Nasiens versus Diodora, and the two of them are ready to face off. And the two of them get ready to fight, with On noticing something's off as Diodora, as he's pulling his blade from the sheath, notices that he's acting pretty differently. He looks kind of different from when they fought. Nasiens draws their blades and launches at Diodora, parrying each and every move, as Diodora is swinging at Nasiens with reckless abandon, with intense glee in their eyes as they're just getting really excited in this fight, seemingly pushing Nasiens back. But just like that, Nasiens breaks through and even manages to cut a bit of Diodora's finger. As On, after seeing this, says, "No wait, this is definitely weird. He wasn't this sloppy when he fought me at all." And Donnie seems to be asking if Diodora kind of thinks it's going to be too easy for him, or if he just doesn't care. Obviously, we know, due to the fact of Diodora's magic awakening, he's going pretty recklessly in order to get injured, in order to give a bit of a feedback from this damage onto Nasiens to kind of win this fight a lot more easily. Diodora has this sinister grin, as they look over towards Nasiens and hope that the damage will be transferred to Nasiens. But Nasiens turns around, getting ready to fight more against Diodora, as Diodora is just shocked and confused as Nasiens is fine and he still has the wound on his hand, as he noticed it didn't transfer. But Diodora is actually more intrigued, saying that there's probably more to this magic, it hasn't fully sunk in yet maybe. But Nasiens asks an important question. Rothis used that leather armor and short sword when he fought Nasiens, and Turret also had the exact same flute when he fought Gawain. And Nasiens asks, why do you have them? Diodora sheathes his sword and then begins to wave the hand signs in order to open up the gateway to Purgatory using the ability to stole Gatekeeper, as Diodora says, because I need them. And in that instance, Nasiens ends up flying backwards thanks to the opening of the Purgatory Gate, which not only shocks Nasiens, obviously, but shocks Beltrip as well as Percival, as they are in utter disbelief that Diodora is using a magical ability that is unique to Rothis. And some magical abilities are hereditary, but there's no way of someone having the exact same magical ability from two people at the same time, especially from different families. So this is definitely a huge surprise, and everyone's wondering what's going on. Diodora says he needed the armor and sword because they're magic and they're built to withstand the miasma of Purgatory. And the flute of the partner Turret is much the same. It's immune to Purgatory's erosion, as Nasiens asks how Diodora got their magic, what happened to them. As Diodora looks over with a really intense look, it just says verbatim, no hesitation, I killed them, and I took it from them. As Nasiens is shocked, even Gawain is just insanely confused and shocked that somebody else could just take the victim's magical force away like that. And Nasiens says that, why did you kill them? They were your companions. You've lost your mind. Weren't they cherished friends to you? As Diodora obviously begins to say, I wish you wouldn't lecture me on that. It's all the world's fault. The world that took it all from me. As he takes his flute from his waist and begins to bring it towards his mouth to play it, Diodora goes on to say, affection, yearning, friendship, trust, each and every type of hope, as he then plays the flute to use invocation to summon beasts directly from the Purgatory Gate. As once they come onto the ground and cause a huge explosion, we end up seeing, after the initial summoning, the two Purgatory beasts that Diodora summoned from the portal. And what's interesting to me is that these are more demonic or twisted and larger versions of the Purgatory beast that Diodora 2 years ago was playing with in his yard as pets, while Ironside just relaxed on his lawn. Which, very thematic now that Diodora has kind of gone down this darker path. The Purgatory beasts, or at least something similar Purgatory beasts from Purgatory, would be brought in and being more vicious, unless these are the same ones and are just being brought out and not tamed. That's honestly pretty interesting now to really consider. But yeah, it's really freaky to see that. And a really nice juxtaposition of from when we first met Diodora. But Nasiens managed to survive using Spirit Chastiful's first form, the Sponge Percival, to take these slash attacks from the Purgatory beasts. But this doesn't make Diodora waver, as he says, you two will understand soon enough. You will see that there is no hope to be found in this world. In the end, all of mankind is alone, as he commands the Purgatory beasts to go towards Nasiens, and the first form of Chastiful ends up meeting them headway in order to block their attacks. I do like the huge, very on-the-nose juxtaposition that Diodora has given up like all hope in the world whatsoever after everything he's gone through in literally the last, 12 hours? It's only been one night and his entire world just shattered. The two surrogate brother figures that he had grown up with just tried to kill him in cold blood and replace him in Ironside's eyes. So, yeah, that is heart-wrenching. And the fact that we're really laying it in that Diodora is going to be like Percival's polar opposite right now, his true antagonist for the series, at least for the most part for a thematic relevance, as Percival is the embodiment of hope, while Diodora is embracing despair and giving up on hope, thinking that it doesn't exist. So I'm liking what's being built up here. As the Purgatory Beasts are taking on the Chastiful, Diodora goes on to say, no matter how much you feel for someone, no matter how much you want them to feel for you, it will never come across. And I know you're in love with the green-haired young man, aren't you? Those feelings too are just a fantasy, doomed never to be rewarded, as Nasiens is trying to keep up with the Chastiful first form while this is draining their energy. Nasiens says that this isn't true, with Percival watching on in the background. But Diodora says, why not? Once you die, it's all over anyway. Everything just fades away. You know that. That's why I'll kill you, and the one you pined for as well. And that was Diodora's biggest mistake, threatening not just Nasiens, but especially Percival. And in this instance, Nasiens, with anger in their eyes, says, I am not going to let that happen. Instantly changing Percival Garden into Chastiful's second form, Chastiful, redirecting for the Spirit Spear form, Percival Spear, to hit Diodora towards the side and injure them on their shoulder. And once blood is drawn and the Percival Spear is on the opposite side of the ground, in the very next and final page of the chapter, Diodora manages to flip the damage from himself on to Nasiens, with Diodora saying, you see, God truly is on my side, as the chapter ends. I want to linger on this last page for a second, really quick. Blink and you miss a detail. Nasiens got Diodora's damage from the Spirit Spear, but the initial cut on Diodora's hand was not rebounded to Nasiens. And I think I understand now, because I've seen some discussion on the Reddit page and the Discord on Diodora's magic as for another condition. Outside of, Diodora having to kill somebody in order to take their magic force and their abilities, as well as, flipping their entire damage that they take on the person that dealt damage, it seems the catalyst, or at least the main condition so far, might just be full intent to harm, or hatred or anger in the attack being directed towards Diodora. Because Nasiens didn't really have any hatred or malice towards Diodora or went for a killing blow initially until after Diodora threatened Percival. So that seems to be the main condition for the damage rebound, or as people in my discussion video from last week stated, Diodora is basically using the antithesis from Bleach. Which, funnily enough, back in the fall season of anime, we had the reveal of Uryu's Shrift of the antithesis. So yeah, interesting correlation, and antithesis basically does the exact same thing. Uryu transfers basically his damage or what has occurred to him to his opponent. So Diodora is basically doing the same thing, though with the added step of it being like either A, an intent to kill, or just hatred or malice in the attack. So I find that very interesting. Other than that, this was another great chapter. We had some really cool fights. Diodora is using the magic abilities that he stole from Turret and Ruthus in the way I think we all expected. I like the juxtaposition of the Purgatory Beasts that we saw when we first met Diodora to now, to showcase his full transformation into this more sadistic, craving death and destruction person that he is right now, as well as the fact that Diodora is basically embodying like the concept of despair and that there is no hope in the world. Death is final. There is no anything afterwards, and it just means absolutely nothing. Mankind was meant to be alone. All that, and in order to be the opposite of Percival, embodiment of hope, someone who gains power from large groups of people that are believing in one thing together, and also the embodiment of life. So I do really, really love that. And it's definitely on your nose and pretty simple, but I think it's done in a clever enough way that really makes it stand on its own 2 feet and makes it something that'll have immense payoff moving forward. And the question is how this fight is going to play out in the next chapter, because either we're going to get the conclusion next chapter, or we're going to get things going back to Nasien's side, where Nasien's starting to win, and then something to occur to either have Diodora win the fight without killing Nasiens, or vice versa. I'm still in the camp that Diodora is going to win because I think it's way too perfect for Diodora to have to fight Percival, at least thematically. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. As the last 2 videos or last 2 chapters, I will be going through all the comments of this week's video, and either on Thursday after this video comes out, or on Saturday, I will release a full video going over the comments for this chapter in order to basically further discuss things with you guys and interact with you guys as well. So thoughts, opinions, theories about this chapter and what could happen in the future, leave it in the comments down below, and yours might be picked for the future comment discussion video. But that's all I got for you guys today. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't already. Shows you enjoy what I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. We're very close to 30,000 subscribers, just a little over 1K, and then we'll hit 30K, and then I'll do the 7 Deadly Sins manga retrospective, and then later on Fairy Tail. So yeah, I would really appreciate it if you guys subscribed. We're very close to the goal. Now with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.